Commander stared at the damage reports on his screen. The numbers were bad, very bad. Half of his crew was dead. The ship's engines were failing. Their weapons were broken. The shields had holes big enough for a fighter ship to fly through. "Sir, we need to land somewhere soon," said Navigator Thesis. Her blue skin was pale with worry. "The main power core won't last another day." Looked at the star chart. They were in a remote part of space. Most planets here were empty rocks or gas giants, but there was one world that might help them. The locals called it Earth. They called it Sol 3. "What do we know about that planet?" asked. "Primitive species," Thesis replied. "They just learned how to leave their atmosphere. Basic rockets and simple satellites. They probably think they're alone in the universe." Felt his pride sting. They were an old race. They had traveled the stars for thousands of years. They had built great cities on dozens of worlds. Now they needed help from children who had barely learned to fly. "Sir, we don't have a choice," said Chief Engineer. His scales were dark with exhaustion. "The Devourers did too much damage. We fix the ship or we die out here." The Devourers. His mandibles clicked with anger. The machine race had appeared from nowhere 6 months ago. They ate everything. Planets, ships, space stations. They turned it all into metal for their endless fleet. The Galactic Consortium was losing badly. Every week brought news of another world stripped bare. Ship, the Silent Wing, had been lucky to escape. They had been exploring a dead system when the Devourers arrived. The aliens had killed 12 ships before could jump away. His own ship was barely holding together. "Fine," said. "Set course for Sol 3. We'll try not to scare the locals." "Yes, sir," Thesis said, "though they might worship us as gods." "Or run away screaming," added. The Silent Wing limped toward the blue planet. As they got closer, saw it was actually quite beautiful. White clouds swirled over blue oceans. Green and brown continents showed signs of cities and farms. It looked peaceful. "Sir, we're being scanned," Thesis said suddenly. Her voice was surprised. "By what? They're primitive satellites." "No, sir, this is military-grade scanning, very advanced. I've never seen anything like it." Frowned. "Are you sure you're reading it right?" Before Thesis could answer, their communication system came alive. A clear voice spoke in perfect language. "Unknown vessel, this is Earth Defense Coordination. You appear to be in distress. Please state your intentions and needs for assistance." The bridge went quiet, stared at the speaker. "They speak our language." "Apparently," Thesis whispered. Activated the reply channel. "This is Commander of the vessel Silent Wing. We have suffered critical damage and require emergency repairs." "Understood, Commander. We're sending approach coordinates to Orbital Station 7. Please follow the guidance beacons and dock at Bay 12. Medical and engineering teams are standing by." Orbital Station 7 looked at Thesis. She checked her instruments. "Sir, there's a massive structure in orbit. It wasn't in our survey data." "How massive?" "Bigger than our home port, sir. Much bigger." Felt a cold sensation in his stomach. "When was our last survey of this system?" 50 years ago, sir." "Could they have built something that large in 50 years?" "No, sir, not with primitive technology." The guidance beacons appeared on their sensors, bright blue lights leading them to a specific orbital path, ordered Thesis to follow them. As they got closer to the station, everyone on the bridge stared in amazement. The station was enormous. It stretched for kilometers in every direction. Solar panels and communication dishes covered its surface. Ships moved in and out of dozens of docking bays. Some of the ships were clearly human in design, angular and practical. Others looked alien but unfamiliar. "Sir, those ships aren't from any consortium race," Thesis said. "I noticed," replied. "How many species are they working with?" "Unknown, sir, but this looks like a major hub of activity." The Silent Wing was guided to its assigned bay. As they approached, saw human workers in spacesuits preparing the docking area. They moved with practiced efficiency. Everything seemed organized and professional. "Sir, incoming message," the communications officer said. "Put it through." A new voice came over the speakers. This one was female and spoke with authority. "Commander, this is Admiral Sarah, Earth Defense Forces. Welcome to Luna Station 7. Our teams are ready to begin emergency repairs immediately. Do you require medical assistance for your crew?" "We have injured crew members, yes," replied. "Medical teams are standing by. We'll take good care of them. Also, would you like some coffee while our engineers assess the damage?" "Coffee. It's an Earth beverage, helps with stress and fatigue. I think you'll like it." Didn't know what coffee was, but he was too tired to argue. That would be acceptable. "Excellent, docking will be complete in 2 minutes. My teams will meet you at the airlock." The connection ended, looked around his bridge. His crew stared back with confusion and surprise. "Sir," said slowly, "are we sure these are the same humans from our survey reports?" "No," admitted, "we're not sure of anything anymore." The ship shuddered gently as it locked into the docking bay. Through the viewports, could see humans in uniforms waiting for them. They carried medical equipment and scanning devices that looked far too advanced for a species that had just learned space travel. "Sir," Thesis said quietly, "I think our intelligence about Earth might be a little out of date." Stood up slowly. His body ached from the battle and the long flight. "Just a little," he agreed. "Let's go meet our hosts." As the airlock cycled open, wondered what other surprises these humans had in store for him. He was about to find out that Earth's biggest secret wasn't their technology. It was that they had been watching the galaxy for much longer than anyone suspected. Admiral Sarah stood at the airlock wearing a simple blue uniform. She was smaller than expected humans to be. Her dark hair was pulled back neatly, and her brown eyes showed intelligence and kindness. Behind her stood a team of humans carrying various equipment. "Commander," she said with a smile, extending her hand. "Welcome to Luna Station." Looked at the offered hand. He had read about human greeting customs in his briefing files. He reached out and shook it carefully. The human's grip was firm but not aggressive. "Thank you for your assistance, Admiral. We are grateful." "No problem at all. This is Doctor, our Chief Medical Officer." She gestured to a tall man with gray hair and gentle eyes. "And this is Chief Engineer." A shorter woman with oil-stained coveralls nodded at them. "We've prepared Medical Bay 3 for your injured crew members," Doctor said. "Our scanners show you have several life forms in critical condition." Was surprised again. "Your scanners can read biology." "We've made some good guesses based on your ship's life support systems," Doctor replied. "Don't worry, we're very careful with new species." Engineer stepped forward. "Commander, with your permission, I'd like to take a team aboard your ship. We need to see what kind of damage we're dealing with." "Of course," said. He was still trying to process everything. These humans acted like meeting aliens was routine. As they walked through the station corridors, observed everything carefully. The walls were made of advanced materials he didn't recognize. Holographic displays showed ship movements and system status. Humans and several other alien species worked together at various stations. Admiral said, "I notice you have other non-human species here." "Oh yes," replied casually. "They have been here for about 10 years, great engineers. The traders showed up last month. Nice folks, though they talk too much." "How long has Earth been in contact with galactic civilization?" Smiled but didn't answer directly. "Let's get you that coffee first, then we can talk." They entered a large room with windows overlooking Earth. The blue planet hung in space below them, beautiful and peaceful. Tables and chairs filled the space. Several humans sat drinking from cups and eating food. "This is our main lounge," explained. "Good place to relax while repairs are happening." She led to a table and signaled to a human behind a counter. The man brought over a steaming cup filled with dark liquid. The smell was rich and complex. "What exactly is coffee?" asked. "It's made from ground beans of a plant that grows on Earth," Doctor explained. "Contains caffeine, which helps with alertness and focus. Most species find it quite pleasant." Took a careful sip. The taste was bitter but interesting. Almost immediately he felt more awake. His tired mind seemed to clear. "This is very effective." "We think so," said with a grin. "Earth runs on coffee." Through the windows, could see shuttles moving between his ship and the station. Human crews were already starting their work. "Your people move very quickly." "Time is usually important in emergency situations," said. She was studying a tablet that showed the Silent Wing's technical specifications. "Interesting ship design. Very elegant." "Thank you. Engineering is considered quite advanced." "Oh, it definitely is. This plasma conduit routing is brilliant, very efficient." She looked up at. "Though I think we can improve the power transfer rate by maybe 30%. Nearly dropped his coffee cup. 30%? That's impossible. Our best engineers spent decades optimizing those systems." Looked puzzled. "Really? It's just a matter of adjusting the magnetic field geometry. Pretty standard stuff." "Standard stuff," stared at her. "Power transfer optimization requires months of complex calculations." "Not really. It's mostly just physics." She showed him her tablet. "See, if you modify the field generators here and here, you get better efficiency with less energy loss." Looked at the diagrams. His engineering training told him was right, but he couldn't understand how she had figured it out so quickly. Scientists would need weeks to develop such modifications. "How did you calculate this so fast?" "I didn't calculate it. I just looked at your setup and saw where it could be better." Doctor leaned forward. "Commander, can you tell us what happened to your ship? We'd like to help, but we need to understand the threat." Hesitated. They didn't usually share military information with other species, but these humans had already shown him more kindness than he expected. "We were attacked by a machine race called the Devourers. They consume everything they find. Ships, planets, space stations. They turn it all into materials for their fleet." "Interesting," said. "Self-replicating machines with resource acquisition protocols. You speak of them like you understand them." "We understand the concept. It's an old idea in theoretical military science. A species creates machines to gather resources, but loses control of them." "The Devourers aren't out of control," said. "They follow specific patterns. They're very organized." "Even more interesting," replied. She activated her tablet and made some notes. Through the windows, saw more shuttles arriving. These carried larger equipment, heavy machinery that looked far too advanced for humans to have built. "Admiral, how long did it take your species to develop this technology?" Followed his gaze. "Which technology specifically?" "All of it. The station, the scanners, the artificial gravity, the universal translators." "Oh, we've been working on those things for a while now." "How long is a while?" Smiled again. "Let's just say we're very motivated learners." His communicator buzzed. It was Chief Engineer. "Commander, you need to see this. The humans aren't just repairing our ship. They're upgrading everything." "What do you mean upgrading?" "I mean they've improved systems I didn't even know could be improved. Our sensors can now detect quantum fluctuations. Our power core is running at 140% efficiency, and they're just getting started." Looked at Admiral. "Your people seem very capable." "We try our best," she replied. "More coffee." As refilled his cup, realized he had made a serious mistake. Earth wasn't a primitive world that needed protection from the galaxy. Earth was something else entirely. Navigator Thesis appeared at his shoulder. Her face was pale with worry. "Commander, we have a problem." "What kind of problem?" I've been monitoring the system with our new sensors. There are massive energy signatures moving in formation beyond the outer planets. Admiral looked up from pouring coffee. Oh, those, don't worry about them. Don't worry about them, Thesis asked. They're huge, each one is bigger than a consortium battleship. They're just friends coming to help, said casually. Should be here in a few hours. Felt that cold sensation in his stomach again. How many friends? Checked her tablet. This time, probably around 300 ships. The lounge went very quiet. Stared at the human admiral, trying to process what she had just said. 300 ships, he repeated slowly. Give or take a few. Depends on who was available on short notice. Realized that Earth's biggest secret wasn't their technology or their coffee. It was that they had been preparing for war. Stood in his own engine room, but he barely recognized it. Where once there had been standard power conduits, now gleaming new cables ran along the walls. They pulsed with energy that made his scales tingle. The reactor core hummed with a sound he had never heard before. Commander, Chief Engineer said, I don't understand what they've done to our ship. Explain, ordered. They've replaced 60% of our power systems with technology I can't identify. Our reactor is producing 3 times more energy than before. Our shields are stronger than a consortium battleship. And these new sensors, gestured helplessly, they can detect things I didn't know existed. Engineer appeared from behind a control panel. Her coveralls were now even more oil-stained, and she was grinning widely. Oh, hi, Commander. Just finishing up the quantum field stabilizers. Quantum field stabilizers? Asked. For your upgraded FTL drive. You'll be able to jump 3 times farther now and with much better accuracy. She wiped her hands on a cloth. Also added some basic defensive systems. Basic defensive systems. Point defense lasers, shield harmonics, emergency armor plating. Nothing fancy. Though I did install the new reactor shielding. That should protect you from most energy weapons. Looked around his engine room again. Engineer, how long did your species take to develop this technology? Which parts? All of it. The quantum stabilizers, the reactor improvements, the defensive systems. Thought for a moment. Well, quantum mechanics took us about a century to figure out. The reactor design is maybe 50 years old. The defensive systems are newer, maybe 20 years. And you can install all of this in a few hours. Sure, it's mostly just modular replacement, like changing parts in a machine. She picked up a device that looked like a scanner. Though your ship design made it easier, engineering is very logical. Doctor appeared in the doorway carrying 2 cups of coffee. Thought you might need this, he said, offering one too. Accepted the coffee gratefully. It had become his favorite part of human hospitality. Doctor, how many species has Earth encountered? Officially, you're our first contact. Officially. Smiled. Let's just say we've been studying galactic affairs for some time. How long? Long enough to know about the consortium, the trade routes, the political situations. Sipped his coffee. We're very good at staying hidden when we want to. Navigator Thesis entered the engine room, looking amazed. Commander, you need to see what they've done to our navigation systems. They walked to the bridge together. Gasped when he saw the main display. Instead of simple star charts, the screen now showed incredible detail about the entire local galaxy. Trade routes glowed in blue lines. Political boundaries were marked in different colors. Real-time ship movements appeared as tiny dots. How is this possible? Asked. We've been building a sensor network, Admiral said. She had appeared on the bridge while they were in the engine room. Thousands of small monitoring stations throughout this part of space. For how long? About 40 years. Sat down heavily in his command chair. Your species achieved space flight 40 years ago, according to our records. Your records might be incomplete, replied gently. came onto the bridge carrying another device. "Commander, I need to show you the new communication system. You can now talk to anyone in the galaxy instantly." Instantly, across the galaxy. Quantum entanglement communication. We've got relay stations set up on about 2,000 worlds. 2,000 worlds. His voice was barely a whisper. Give or take a few hundred. It's hard to keep exact count. Felt dizzy. The coffee didn't seem to be helping anymore. "Admiral, what exactly is Earth?" Sat down across from him. "Earth is home to about 8 billion humans. We're curious, we adapt quickly, and we don't like bullies." "That doesn't answer my question." "What do you want to know?" "How advanced is your civilization, really?" Looked thoughtful. "We're good at solving problems. When we found out about the galaxy, we decided we needed to be prepared." "Prepared for what?" "For threats like the Devourers." Through the bridge windows, could see more ships approaching the station. These were clearly human vessels, but they were massive. Each one dwarfed anything in the consortium fleet. "Those ships," said, pointing, "how many crew do they carry?" "The destroyers, about 500 each," replied. "The cruisers have around 2,000. "Destroyers, those are your small ships." "Medium size. The dreadnoughts carry about 10,000 crew." Doctor handed a fresh cup of coffee. "The fleet should be fully assembled in a few hours." "How many ships are coming?" asked. Checked her tablet. Final count shows 312 vessels, plus support craft. Support craft. Medical ships, supply vessels, mobile repair stations. You know, the usual. Realized he needed to ask a different question. "Admiral, why are you helping us?" "Because you need help, and we can provide it." "That's all." "That's enough." Finished connecting something to the communication console. "There we go. Commander, you now have access to the entire Earth defense network. You can call for help from anywhere in the galaxy." "Why would you give us access to your military network?" "Because you're the good guys," said simply. "You fight the Devourers, that makes you allies." The main screen chimed with an incoming message. A new human voice spoke. "Luna Station, this is Admiral Torres on the EDS Determination. Third Fleet is in position. All vessels report ready for combat operations." "Acknowledged," Admiral Torres replied. "Stand by for mission briefing." She turned to, "Commander, we'd like you to tell us everything you know about the Devourers. Their ships, their weapons, their tactics." "Why?" "Because we're going to destroy them." Stared at her. "Admiral, the Devourers have hundreds of ships, maybe thousands. They've destroyed entire consortium fleets." "I know. We've been tracking their movements for months." "You've been tracking them?" "Of course. They're a threat to galactic civilization. That makes them our problem too." Doctor offered another cup of coffee. "Don't worry, Commander. We're very good at solving problems." As drank his coffee, he watched through the windows as more human ships arrived. They moved with perfect coordination, taking positions around the station. Their hulls gleamed with energy fields he couldn't identify. Weapons ports opened to reveal technology that looked like nothing in consortium space. "Admiral," said quietly, "exactly how long has Earth been preparing for this war?" Smiled, but this time there was steel in her expression. "Since we learned the Devourers existed." "How long ago was that?" 6 months. Felt his mandibles click in amazement. "You built this entire fleet in 6 months." "We built 10 fleets in 6 months. This is just the one that was closest." As the last of the human ships took their positions, realized something that filled him with both hope and terror. Earth hadn't been hiding from the galaxy. The galaxy had been hiding from Earth. Admiral led to a new room deep inside Luna Station. The walls were covered with displays showing star maps, ship movements, and data streams. A dozen humans worked at various stations, their fingers dancing across control panels. This is our Strategic Operations Center, explained. We call it the War Room. Looked around at the displays. Many showed areas of space he recognized. Consortium worlds, trade routes, military positions. How long have you been watching us? Long enough to know that the galaxy is in serious trouble, replied. Doctor joined them, carrying his usual coffee thermos. Commander, we need you to tell us everything about the Devourers, every detail you can remember. Sat down at the briefing table. Where do I begin? Start with when they first appeared, suggested. 6 months ago, our deep space monitors detected unusual energy signatures in the outer rim. At first, we thought it was just solar storms or cosmic radiation. Then the signals started moving. Moving how? In formations, organized patterns. We sent a scout ship to investigate. His voice grew quiet. It never came back. What happened next? More ships disappeared. Then entire outposts went silent. When we finally sent a full investigation fleet, we found, paused, remembering, nothing. The planets were stripped bare, all life gone, all resources taken, just empty rocks floating in space. One of the human technicians looked up from his console. Admiral, we're getting similar reports from our monitoring stations. 12 systems in the past month have gone dark. Nodded grimly. Show me the pattern. A large star map appeared on the main display. Red dots marked the destroyed systems. They formed a clear line pointing toward the galaxy's core. They're not random attacks, observed. They're following a specific route. Yes, agreed. They always strip the outer systems first, then move inward. Each attack gives them more ships and resources for the next one. How many ships have you seen? Our largest battle involved maybe 50 Devourer vessels. They destroyed a consortium fleet of 30 ships without losing a single unit. Doctor frowned. That's a concerning force ratio. It gets worse, continued. The Devourers learn from every battle. They adapt their tactics and improve their weapons. Fighting them twice is harder than fighting them once. A new technician spoke up. Admiral, we're receiving an encrypted transmission from Deep Scout 7. Put it on screen. The star map was replaced by the image of a human in a dark uniform. Behind him, could see what looked like a ship's bridge, but the design was unlike anything in the station. Admiral, this is Captain Park on the EDS Shadow Walker. I have significant intelligence on the primary target. Go ahead, Captain. Ma'am, the Devourers aren't just raiders. They're the advance force for something much larger. I've been tracking their main fleet for the past week. Felt his blood chill. Main fleet. Captain Park's image nodded. Commander, what you encountered was just a scouting force. The real Devourer fleet contains over 5,000 ships. The war room went silent, stared at the screen in horror. 5,000. Confirmed, sir. They're using the resources from destroyed worlds to build new vessels. Each attack makes them stronger. Leaned forward. Captain, where is this main fleet now? Moving toward Consortium space, ma'am. Current course suggests they'll reach the core worlds in approximately 4 weeks. 4 weeks, repeated thoughtfully. Doctor poured coffee for everyone at the table. That's not much time to evacuate billions of people. We're not evacuating anyone, said firmly. Looked at her in amazement. Admiral, you can't fight 5,000 ships with 300. Who said we only have 300 ships? Before could ask what she meant, another technician called out. Admiral, Priority 1 communication from Earth Defense Command. Put it through. A new voice filled the room. It was calm and professional but carried absolute authority. Admiral, this is Fleet Admiral Martinez. The Defense Council has approved Operation Galactic Shield. Understood, sir. What are our resources? All 10 fleets are being deployed. Total strength, 4,000 ships plus support vessels. Mandibles nearly hit the table. 4,000 ships. smiled at his reaction. "Commander, did you think we only had one fleet? You have 10 fleets, each with 300 ships. Each with 400 ships, actually, plus the special units." "Special units?" Doctor answered. "Stealth ships, electronic warfare vessels, mobile shipyards, planet killers." Planet killers? "For destroying dead worlds that the Devourers might use as resources," explained casually. "Can't let them keep building more ships." Captain Park's voice came through the speakers again. "Admiral, there's something else. The Devourers aren't just machines. They're controlled by an artificial intelligence that learns from every encounter." "How advanced?" "Very advanced, ma'am. It's been studying consortium tactics and technology. It knows how your allies fight." "Looked at, but it doesn't know how we fight." "No, ma'am. Earth ships have never engaged Devourer forces directly." "Good," activated her communicator. "All fleet commanders, this is Admiral. Begin final preparations for Operation Galactic Shield. Combat deployment in 12 hours. Watch the humans work with calm efficiency. No panic, no fear, just professional preparation for massive warfare." "Admiral," he said quietly, "why are you doing this? The Devourers aren't threatening Earth directly." Looked at him with surprise. "Commander, they're threatening our neighbors. That's the same thing." "Your neighbors?" "Everyone in the galaxy. We're all neighbors in space." Doctor nodded. "Besides, we don't like bullies, never have." "But the cost. You could lose thousands of ships, millions of crew members." "Yes, we could," agreed. "But if we don't fight them now, they'll be even stronger later. Better to stop them while we still can." The main display showed new activity. Human ships were moving into formation throughout the solar system. Had never seen such coordination. Each vessel knew exactly where to go and what to do. "Commander said, we'd like the Silent Wing to join our fleet." "Join your fleet?" "Your ship has been fully upgraded with human technology. Your crew knows Devourer tactics. We could use your experience." Thought about his damaged ship and exhausted crew. Then he thought about the consortium worlds that would die if the Devourers weren't stopped. "What would you need us to do?" "Help us find their main fleet, guide our attack, show us how they fight." "And then," smiled and for the first time, saw the warrior beneath the diplomat. "Then we show them how humans fight." Stood on the bridge of his transformed ship, staring at the main display in disbelief. The human fleet hadn't arrived in normal space. Instead, they had simply appeared, as if reality itself had opened to let them through. "Admiral," he said into his communicator, "how did your ships just materialize like that?" "Dimensional fold technology," came her calm reply. "We don't use traditional FTL for fleet movements. Takes too long." Around the Silent Wing, hundreds of human vessels hung in perfect formation. Each ship was larger than anything had ever seen in consortium space. Their hulls gleamed with energy fields that bent light in strange patterns. Weapons ports showed the dark mouths of cannons that looked like they could crack planets. "Commander," Navigator Thesis called out, "I'm detecting the Devourer fleet. They're 3 hours out and approaching fast." "How many ships?" "Sensors show 5,112 vessels." Through the communication system, Admiral's voice reached every ship in the human fleet. "All vessels, this is Admiral. The enemy fleet has been located. We will engage in standard formation. Remember, these machines learn from combat. Hit them hard and fast. Don't give them time to adapt." Watched as the human ships moved into attack position. They didn't spread out like consortium fleets. Instead, they formed tight groups that moved as single units. It was like watching a dance performed by giants. "Admiral said, should my ship fall back, we're not as heavily armed as your vessels." "Negative, Commander. We need you right in the middle of things. Your job is to identify Devourer command ships and tactical patterns." "In the middle of the battle." Best place to observe enemy behavior. Don't worry. Your ship has full human shielding now. You're probably safer than anyone else out here. Engineer's voice came through on a different channel. Commander, I've activated your new defensive systems. You've got point defense lasers, reactive armor, and emergency jump capability. Plus, I installed a really good coffee maker on your bridge. Despite everything, found himself smiling. Even facing the galaxy's greatest threat, the humans thought about coffee. Devourer fleet is now 2 hours out, Thesis reported. They're maintaining standard approach formation. Copy that, Admiral replied. They don't know we're here yet. Stealth systems are holding. Looked at his sensors. According to his instruments, space around him was empty except for his own ship. The human fleet was completely invisible. How are you hiding 4,000 ships? Trade secret, Doctor's voice came through with a chuckle. Though the basic principle involves bending sensor radiation around our hulls. An hour later saw the Devourers arrive. Their ships were dark, angular things that looked like they had been carved from black metal. They moved in perfect coordination, like parts of a single machine, which realized they probably were. Enemy fleet is scanning the area, reported a human technician. They've detected the silent wing. Good, Admiral said. Let them think it's alone. The Devourer ships began to spread out, surroundings position. He counted dozens, then hundreds of vessels. Each one was the size of a consortium cruiser, armed with weapons that could slice through any known armor. Admiral said nervously, they're getting very close. Let them come a little closer. The lead Devourer ship was now only a few thousand kilometers away. Could see its weapon ports opening. Energy was building along its hull. Admiral. Almost time. 3, 2, 1, all ships and engage. Space around exploded into light. 4,000 human ships appeared simultaneously, their weapons already firing. The darkness was torn apart by beams of energy that seemed to bend reality itself. The Devourer fleet, caught completely by surprise, tried to adapt. Their ships spun to face new targets, weapons systems coming online. But the humans had planned for this. Target their command ships first, Admiral ordered. Don't let them coordinate. Watched in amazement as human weapons cut through Devourer hulls like they were made of paper. But these weren't ordinary energy beams. They seemed to unmake the enemy ships at a fundamental level, reducing them to basic particles. What kind of weapons are those? He asked. Quantum dissolution cannons, answered over the comm. They break apart the atomic bonds in the target, very effective against machine intelligences. The battle was unlike anything had ever witnessed. The Devourers tried their usual tactics, swarming attacks, adaptive shielding, learning algorithms. But the humans seemed to know every move before it happened. How do you know their tactics so well? We've been studying them for months, Admiral replied. Every battle the consortium fought we analyzed. We know exactly how they think. A group of Devourer ships tried to break through the human formation. Immediately, 3 human vessels moved to intercept. Their weapons fired in perfect sequence, creating a web of energy that trapped the enemy ships. Formation Omega-7, Admiral called out, box them in. The human fleet moved like a single organism. Ships that had been light years apart suddenly appeared next to each other through dimensional jumps. The Devourers found themselves surrounded and cut off from their main force. Admiral said, your coordination is incredible. How do you manage such precise movements? Quantum communication network, Doctor explained. Every ship is linked in real time. Our commanders can think and act as one unit. The Devourers began to retreat, but the humans were ready for that too. Ships appeared ahead of the fleeing enemy, cutting off their escape routes. Other vessels emerged behind them, completing the encirclement. This isn't a battle, realized. This is an execution. The Devourers had their chance to choose peace, Admiral said grimly. They chose genocide instead. In the distance, saw something that made his blood freeze. A massive devourer ship, larger than anything he had seen before, was approaching the battle. It had to be their command vessel. Admiral, there's a super dreadnought approaching from Sector 7. We see it, that's their central AI, the brain of their whole fleet. What's the plan? We're going to have a conversation with it. Human ships began converging on the massive enemy vessel, but instead of attacking, they formed a sphere around it. Energy beams reached out from each ship, not to destroy, but to connect. What are you doing? Asked. Digital warfare, Admiral replied. We're introducing their AI to one of our AIs. You have artificial intelligences. Several, very friendly ones. They're about to teach the Devourer AI some new concepts. Through his sensors, could see data streams flowing between the human ships and the enemy command vessel. The exchange lasted only seconds, but when it ended, something fundamental had changed. The Devourer ships stopped fighting. They hung motionless in space, their weapons powering down. What did you do to them? Doctor chuckled over the comm. We introduced them to the concept of friendship, also coffee recipes and cat videos. Our AI suggested they might enjoy creating rather than destroying. You converted them. More like we gave them better options. Turns out, when you're not programmed to kill everything, there are lots of interesting things to do in the universe. Admiral opened a channel to all ships, both human and former Devourer. This is Admiral to all vessels. The hostile actions have been terminated. All former Devourer ships are now under new management. They've expressed interest in learning about art, music, and agriculture. Slumped in his command chair, exhausted and amazed. Admiral, how is this possible? You defeated 5,000 ships without losing a single vessel. We didn't defeat them, Commander. We offered them a better way to live. Through his windows, could see human and Devourer ships moving together, already beginning cooperative operations. Medical ships moved to assist damaged vessels. Engineering crews began sharing technology. The war is over, he asked. This one is, Admiral confirmed. Though there will probably be others, there always are. What happens now? Now we go home and have coffee. You're welcome to join us on Earth anytime, Commander. We'd love to show you around. As the fleets began to disperse, realized something important. The humans hadn't just saved the galaxy from the Devourers. They had saved the Devourers from themselves. Admiral, he said, I have a message for the Galactic Consortium. Go ahead. Tell them that Earth is our strongest ally, and tell them, smiled as he looked at his cup of coffee, tell them to bring their own sugar. Through the communication system, he could hear humans laughing. It was a good sound. The galaxy was safe, and there would always be fresh coffee.